Chairman, and thank you all for coming today. I think everybody in this room wants free, fair, safe elections, so I think that's uniform. I think there's very much consensus about that. How that happens, I think there may be a little bit of disagreement, but this is why, I think our House passed the SAVE Act that requires states to prove citizenship before registering an individual to vote and to remove non-citizens from existing voter rolls. The question is, why do people fear that? Because here in Washington, D.C., they passed a law which had to be reversed, or passed a rule or whatever they call it here in the county or the city that would have allowed people from the Chinese embassy to come and vote. In New York, they wanted non-citizens to be able to vote. So there is precedent in this country that is justified fear for being able to say, am I not coming on? Oh, hello. Do I need to speak louder? Okay, good. Anyway, long and short, there is, I think, justified fear for people saying, hey, we want non-citizens not to vote in our elections. Secretary LaRose, in your testimony, you mentioned that Ohio requires voters to present a government-issued photo ID to vote, and your state requires driver's licenses and state IDs. Can you tell us how this has safeguarded the elections in Ohio?
Yeah, thank you, sir. By just proving that people are who they say they are when they come to vote. And by the way, vast majority of Democrats and Republicans support this. Ohio provides a free ID if you don't have one. We even have a religious exemption for that very small minority that doesn't allow them to be photographed, and so they may not have a state ID. So we cover all the bases, and our state ID has an indication on it that says whether you're a citizen or not. Shockingly, I actually had to go to court last year and defend that because there was a group saying that we should give people a ballot even if they give us an ID that says non-citizen.
Amazing. Ballot harvesting requires a lot of attention and for good reason, receives a lot of attention and for good reason. Fraudulent actions committed by third parties are a threat. Can you tell me what election security initiatives do you find to be the most effective in reducing fraud from these third-party collection of mail-in ballots?
Well, Ohio recently outlawed the pre-populating of these forms by some of these third-party organizations because in many cases they were sending out pre-populated forms with inaccurate information on them. So now you have to fill the form out yourself. But we also have strict rules around the use of so-called drop boxes or secure receptacles, whereas only the voter may return their ballot. If you're returning somebody else's ballot, which Ohio law allows you to do for a family member or a disabled person, in those cases you just have to come inside and present it to the election officials.
You have to present an ID if you bring in somebody else's ballot, a family member?
No, but you do have to sign an affidavit that says that you've been designated by a disabled Ohioan to return their ballot, and that has obviously the power of law behind it.
All right, thank you. Secretary Landry, in your testimony, you shared that your governor issued a directive requiring the Office of Motor Vehicles to share information on non-citizens who hold Louisiana driver's license or ID. How can illegal immigrants take advantage of automatic voter registration, particularly when they come in contact with a state DMV?
In Louisiana, illegal immigrants are not allowed to get a driver's license. Only those here legally can get a driver's license. And we previously did not have access to that information. And the Governor Landry, our governor now, ordered the DMV to provide that information to us, and it allows us to now audit our voter rolls to see if there are non-citizens on the voter rolls. But it's not enough. There's still information that we need, and getting access to the SAVE database will allow us to find even more people who may be on our rolls who are not citizens.
You know, I've worked in some other countries during election periods, just playing doctor like I do sometimes, and I think it's a good look for this country that we want voters to be citizens, and we want our elections to have integrity. Secretary McGrain, your office has been sued for removing college student identification cards from the approval list of voter IDs for voter registration. How did that happen? What happened there?
Idaho 2 years ago updated its voter ID requirements to register to vote, and I think to the core, how did it happen? I'm not sure. Like was mentioned earlier.
Did it affect turnout?
It did not affect turnout. Actually, in this last election, overwhelmingly, so 98.1% of Idaho voters showed an Idaho driver's license or ID card when they voted. It doesn't impact students as well use driver's licenses.
Yeah, they drive.
Yep.
Thank you.